I realized that this music that I was singing could have a very dramatic effect on people to cut through the superficiality of their ordinary perspectives and bring them together to have an epiphany.
Where have all the flowers gone? For fans of Peter, Paul, and Mary, that question took on new meaning when the beloved folk trio disbanded. Their harmonies may have faded, but the curiosity about their breakup has only grown stronger over time. In this video, we'll explore the complex factors that led to the end of the group, a story where the truth is as layered as their iconic three-part harmonies. The rise of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce my guest stars. And I'm very proud of the fact that they made themselves available to be on my show. So here they are, the most popular folk singing trio in the country, Peter, Paul, and Mary.
In the early 60s, as America was on the cusp of significant social and political change, a new folk trio emerged. Peter Yarrow, Noel Paul Stuckey, and Mary Travers, collectively known as Peter, Paul, and Mary, burst onto the music scene with a unique blend of harmonies and socially conscious lyrics. The group was the brainchild of manager Albert Grossman, who had a vision for creating a folk group that could appeal to mainstream audiences while still maintaining the authenticity of the genre. Grossman, who later went on to manage Bob Dylan, saw potential in combining Yarrow's songwriting skills, Stuckey's guitar prowess, and Travers' striking vocals. Their formation was somewhat unconventional. Yarrow and Grossman were discussing the idea at Israel Young's Folklore Center in Greenwich Village when Yarrow noticed a picture of Mary Travers on the wall. Despite Travers' initial reluctance to perform professionally due to her introverted nature, the trio came together and began rehearsing intensively for 6 months before making their debut. In 1961, they made their first appearance at the Bitter End nightclub in Greenwich Village. Their polished act quickly gained attention, leading to a contract with Warner Brothers. The following year, they released their self-titled debut, which would remain in the top 10 for 10 months and in the top 20 for 2 years, selling over 2 million copies. The soundtrack of social change.
The song was Puff the Magic Dragon, and I'm Peter of Peter, Paul, Mary, and I wrote it.
As the civil rights movement gained momentum and the Vietnam War escalated, Peter, Paul, and Mary became more than just musicians. They became the soundtrack to a generation's call for change. Their music blended entertainment with activism, bringing folk music and its associated messages to a mainstream audience. In 1963, the trio performed at the March on Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. Their rendition of Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind became a major anthem for the civil rights movement. The song, which they had released earlier that year, sold 300,000 copies in the first week and reached number 2 on the Billboard Pop chart. Peter Yarrow reflected on the impact of their music in a 2023 interview. Folk music is a very powerful tool. It's even more powerful when people sing together. When people sing together, it's natural. It requires a certain vulnerability because when you appreciate art and you listen to music and you react to it, not a logical manner, but in a humane, heartfelt, emotional manner, it's not being mediated by your cerebrum. It's not logic. The group's repertoire included not only protest songs, but also gentler, more whimsical tunes that resonated with audiences of all ages. Puff the Magic Dragon, written by Yarrow and Leonard Lipton, became one of their most famous and beloved songs, despite, or perhaps because of, persistent rumors it was about drug use, a claim Yarrow has consistently denied. The pressures of fame and activism.
Thank you, Mark. We are backstage with Peter, Paul, and Mary. Briefly, why are you here today?
Amnesty International allows everybody to take part in freeing political prisoners, prisoners of political conscience throughout the world. This is real political work. This is the real stuff. It's not symptomatic stuff.
As the group's popularity grew, so did the pressures of fame and their commitment to social causes. They were not content to simply sing about change. They actively participated in demonstrations and used their elevated platform to advocate for civil rights and peace. Their activism, however, came at a cost. Mary Travers once revealed, quote, "For years I used to bite my fingernails on stage. There you are and look like the back porch light and stare out at 12,000 or 15,000 people, any one of whom could have had a gun. The trio received death threats due to their political stance, but they remained undeterred in their mission. The intense schedule of touring, recording, and activism began to take its toll on the group. They were not just performers, but also symbols of a movement, and the weight of that responsibility was significant. The breaking point.
When we first got together, we were enamored with each other's enthusiasm, with each other's cleverness, talent, not so enamored with each other's faults, or what we perceived as each other's faults.
By the late 60s, despite their continued success with hits like Leavin' on a Jet Plane, which became their only #1 single in 1969, cracks were beginning to form in the foundation of Peter, Paul, and Mary. The pressures of maintaining their public image while dealing with personal issues and creative differences were becoming increasingly difficult to manage. Each member of the trio was growing in different directions. Peter Yarrow was deeply involved in political activism, particularly in opposition to the Vietnam War. Noel Paul Stuckey was exploring his newfound Christian faith, which was influencing his music and worldview. Mary Travers was dealing with the challenges of balancing her career with family life. The decision to break up in 1970 was not a sudden one, but rather the culmination of years of mounting pressure and diverging paths. The group had been together for nearly a decade, and the intense closeness required to maintain their harmonious sound and public image had become stifling. Yarrow later reflected on the breakup saying, quote, "We were in many ways like a marriage that had run its course. We needed space to grow individually." The aftermath of the breakup. Following the split, each member of the trio pursued solo careers with varying levels of success. Mary released 5 solo albums between 1971 and 78, continuing to blend her music with political activism. She also produced and starred in a BBC TV series showcasing her talents beyond singing. Noel Paul Stuckey formed a Christian music group called the Bodyworks Band, exploring his faith through music. He also wrote the wedding song There Is Love for Peter Yarrow's marriage to Mary Beth McCarthy, which became a popular wedding song covered by many other artists. Peter Yarrow's post-breakup period was marked by both musical endeavors and personal controversy. He co-wrote and produced Mary McGregor's hit Torn Between Two Lovers and earned an Emmy for 3 animated TV specials based on Puff the Magic Dragon. But his career took a dark turn in 1970 when he was convicted of taking improper liberties with a 14-year-old girl. He served 3 months of a 1 to 3 year sentence. The incident cast a long and dark shadow over his career and personal life, despite receiving a presidential pardon from Jimmy Carter in 1981. The reunion and later years. Despite the personal and professional issues they faced, Peter, Paul, and Mary found their way back to each other. In 1978, they got back together, albeit briefly, for a concert to protest nuclear energy, which led to a summer reunion tour and the release of an album aptly titled Reunion. The success of the reunion showed that the magic of their harmonies and the power of their message still resonated with audiences. In 1981, they decided to reunite more permanently, continuing to record albums and tour for nearly 3 decades. During this period, they adapted their music to address new social issues while still performing their classic hits. They updated some of their lyrics to be more inclusive, changing boys in Puff to boys and girls, for example. They also wrote new songs that tackled contemporary problems, such as Don't Go Down to the Quarry, which criticized harmful betting practices. The trio's enduring impact was recognized with numerous awards and honors. They were inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 1999 and received the prestigious Sammy Cahn Lifetime Achievement Award from the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2006. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite Peter, Paul, and Mary song? Why does it resonate with you? Let us know in the comments section below.